What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and you are looking at a bunch of Jack Daniels. That's right. This is our first ever Jack Off. We're going to figure out which one of these bottles we like the best. Now, these 4 bottles are actually out of my collection, but the 5 bottles in front of me, these samples were sent to me by a gentleman named Carl Beatty. He's actually the gentleman in charge of whiskeythreads.com. He sent me this shirt as well. Gotta tell you, quality material, awesome designs, 131.1 proof, I believe. Some of these are up there. So let's try these out. Thanks to Carl Beatty. Appreciate you. Shout out to you. As I pour these up, I'll tell you what we're sipping on. We're obviously not going to drink all of this tonight. This is Jack 10 coming in at 97 proof. Up next is Jack 12 coming in at 107 proof. I had an opportunity to buy this on our website. Missed the drop though. Only got the Jack Daniels 10, as you can see right over here. Coming up next, Jack Daniels Twice Barreled. This is 106.9 proof, obviously twice barreled, special release. This one is interesting to me. This is 100% American malt, and then it's finished in Oloroso sherry, and I believe, no, just Oloroso sherry casks. Up next, we have Jack Daniels Single Barrel Barrel Proof. This is coming in at 131.1 proof. Isn't that kind of funny? Because we're wearing that on the t-shirt. I'm excited to try this one. I do have my own Jack Daniels Single Barrel Barrel Proof. But then the last one is Jack Daniels Single Barrel Barrel Proof Rye coming in at 136 proof. Now, I know what you're thinking, Chris. You've got 5 samples poured up here, but you also have 4 other bottles on the table. What are those all about? Well, it's basically for show, so you can see that I also have these bottles in my collection, but I am just sticking with what Carl sent me. That being said, this bottle right over here is Jack Daniels Coy Hill. This comes in at 142.8 proof. The winner of this is going to go up against that in another video, because we're about to drink a lot of Jack Daniels right now. So let's get into this. Let's get jacked off. So when Carl originally sent me these, I was thinking about doing this blind, but then I decided there's probably not much of a point when it comes to the proofs, when it comes to having a barrel proof rye and then an American single malt. I mean, maybe these two will be very similar. We've got the Jack Daniels 10 and the Jack Daniels 12, obviously the same mash bill, 2 years difference. We're going to see how much different these are. This is 97 proof and 107 proof. Let's start with the Jack Daniels 10, see how this is. The one thing that I will say about this is it seems to be drier and more tannic than I expected it to be for the 10 year, which kind of makes me a little bit nervous moving into the 12 year. We're going to kind of run through this one time, then we'll come back and get into the nuance of it. But the 12 year, I feel like if it adds that much more oak and that much more complexity and depth when it comes to the age statement, it's going to be a little bit too much for me because the 10 year right here is already a little bit too much. Very good baking spice on this, a little bit of sweetness, but again, oaky and tannic on the end, which kind of takes over the glass for me. And that is not like that at all. Now, I don't know how they did this, but they took what I was expecting to be 2 of the exact same bottles with a 10 proof point difference and a 2-year age statement difference and made them very different indeed. This glass right here, I'm getting fruity notes. I'm getting some dark cherries, maybe some raspberries on this, some dried raisins, which are always dry because they're grapes and then they're dried. That's how you get raisins. But you get the point. I get a lot of that age statement on this in all of the best ways. Some sweet oak on this, still a little dry, still a little tannic on the end, but not anywhere near what the 10 year gave me. And I like this a lot better. This isn't even close for me. The 12 year is absolutely better than the 10 year. First sip through, and it's only 10 bucks more at $80 MSRP. I'm actually kind of pissed I missed out on this bottle now. I didn't expect it to be that much different than the 10 year, and yet it is. But let's get into our next bottle here, the Jack Daniels Twice Barrel. This is 106.9 proof. This is 100% American single malt, finished in Oloroso sherry casks. Let's try it out. That is a chocolatey wine flavored delicious. I don't even know. This tastes like a dessert if you ask me. I don't have a lot of experience with American single malt, especially 100% American single malt, let alone something that's finished in Oloroso sherry casks as a 100% American single malt. Apparently that's the future of whiskey. Everybody wants to get into the American single malts, probably because you don't need new charred oak barrels. I don't think, right? That's not a requirement and everybody's running out of barrels. But this right here is good. One more sip. The chocolate in this glass mixed with what I would almost describe as a salted caramel pretzel flavor profile mixed with that Oloroso sherry is just giving me a wild experience when it comes to this glass of whiskey. I would never have enjoyed this 5 years ago, but right now I'm trying to find something that I don't like about it. This is pretty damn good. That right there is something that I would tell you to try if you're trying to expand your palate a little bit. If you're stuck in your ryes and your bourbons and that's all you want to drink, that's not for you. But if you're trying to venture out into something a little bit different, but still want to stay in that whiskey world, that's pretty damn good. And it's not something that I thought I would enjoy. And yet at the end of the day, I really truly do. Let's get into our next one right here. This is just your Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. People tell me this is some of the best whiskey on the market. I have a bottle myself. Let's try this one sent to us from Carl. There's the heat. I mean, everything about this glass right here is what I love about whiskey. 131.1 proof, sit outside, campfire going, crisp winter air, warm you up from the inside out, and all the flavor profiles just commingle together so well. Obviously, being a single barrel, one barrel is going to be different than the next. My barrel is going to be different than yours. Carl's barrel is going to be different than mine, but every single one that I've tried so far has been delicious, and this is no exception. You get all those sweet notes that you're looking for on the front there, those vanillas, those caramels, those toffees, all of that flavor that you love that Jack Daniel's has in a Tennessee whiskey, emphasized at 131.1 proof. Goes right into those baking spices that you absolutely love. The perfect amount of baking spice on this. And then right into that tail end, this is at least 4 years old, although I'm assuming there's some older whiskey in this as well. You get all of those aged notes that you love. Nothing about this glass that you can't truly love. And this is just another single barrel that hits the spot. The fact that these are only $65 means that it can contend with Russell's Reserve single barrel all day. I haven't had a Russell's Reserve single barrel I don't like. It's usually in that $65 price range. I haven't had a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof that I don't like. It's usually in that $65 price range. Jack might be winning actually because the proof difference. You're talking 110 proof versus 131.1 proof. It depends on what you like, but at the end of the day, these are hard to beat at the price. I just don't understand. If you don't like this and you like high octane whiskey, what exactly are you looking for? And last but certainly not least, before we start ranking these, we're going to get to our Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye coming in at 136 proof. This is 70% rye, which leaves us with 18% corn and then I believe 12% malted barley. Let's try this out, 136 proof. That's pretty high. Not as hot, but maybe that's because I just drank this one over here. The only way that I can describe this glass right here is to compare it to cooking. I love to cook, but I'm not a chef. I don't come up with recipes. I go online, I look up recipes. If they get great reviews, I try them out myself. Sometimes it's Tuesday night, you just got your son's basketball practice done, it's 5:30, the other kid's gotta go to bed, so you gotta whip something up real quick. You throw some chicken on the grill, you throw some barbecue sauce on it, and you call it a night. That's your dinner. Other times, you take your time. You take the meat out of the fridge early. You get all your spices whipped up in a bowl, nutmeg, paprika, you get some allspice, some black pepper, some salts, all of it together, the perfect combination. You're using measuring spoons, all kinds of stuff like that. That's what this is right here. The perfect spices used for the perfect meal, except your meal happens to be a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, and it does not disappoint at the end of the night. I mean, the mash bill again on this is perfect. You're talking 70% rye rather than like a 95.5 rye. Now, I love 95.5 ryes, but I have to be in the mood for it. This right here, I think, is a more inviting 70% rye rather than the 95.5. Everything about this glass gives you all of the sweetness that you love behind that rye. So normally I like the sweetness up front, I like the rye spice behind it, and then a little bit of age on the end. This is the complete opposite, and I don't mind it at all. You get all of that spice up front, you get a little bit of sweetness in the middle, and then you get that age notes at the end. Nothing overwhelming when it comes to the oakiness, the dryness, the tannics compared to something like the first two glasses we had. And this right here, I don't know which is better, the barrel proof or the barrel proof rye, but they're both pretty damn good. I want to give one more shout out to Carl here before we go back through and rank these. Again, check out whiskeythreads.com. If you haven't already, I will put the link in my bio in Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get my bios. Make sure you check out whiskeythreads.com. I'm going to sit through these a couple of times. I won't waste your time with that, and then I'll start to rank them and see which one we like best. Even coming back to this, it still gives me that dryness and that tannic, and compared to everything else right here, I'm just going to take this one out of the equation. I'm going to tell you that the Jack Daniel's 10 is actually my least favorite of all of these, and I don't think it's even close, which is sad because that's the bottle that I have. We're going to do a full review on that soon, but let's get back into these other four real quick. I think I might have put these in the right order. Here's the deal, I have my order, but there are some stipulations. We already said the Jack Daniel's 10-year is going to be in last place. I'm going to switch the Jack Daniel's 12-year with the American single malt here. Not for reasons other than the fact that I didn't truly enjoy this compared to everything else. This is very different, very unique, but next to the Jack Daniel's 12-year right here, I don't think it stands up. It's just a little bit too different when it comes to what I like about whiskey. That being said, I'm also going to switch our Jack Daniel's single barrel proof with our Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. And this one right here was tough for me. I will say, this is very close. This was a toss-up right here. These two single barrels, if I tried two other single barrels, or if I did this blind or something, I might have switched these. But right now, this particular single barrel, and I've got to get a picture, maybe find out exactly what barrel it is or what's going on. But this particular single barrel for the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof at 131.1 proof, which is funny because, again, that's what the shirt says, was absolutely delicious. I couldn't find one thing wrong with this glass. So that's going to be my order for tonight. Jack Daniel's single barrel proof versus Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye versus Jack Daniel's 12-year, which was surprisingly good. I'm actually excited about how good this is because I do think I can get my hands on one. The twice barrel was good, just a little bit too different. And then the disappointment of the night is definitely going to be the Jack Daniel's 10 at 97 proof. It just wasn't doing it for me, especially compared to all these other heavy hitters that I had on my bar. Listen, one more time, shout out to Carl. Appreciate you for sending me this flight. Couldn't have done it without you. Check out whiskeythreads.com. That link in the description below. Make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. Make sure you check out our Patreon and our Discord. Both those links in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Stay having jack-offs. Cheers, y'all. It's not that good.